Ari, welcome to the world's shortest unboxing video. This is the Micronauts Omnibus, and I wish I could shrink this box down because it doesn't fit in frame. Let's take it out of its box. Oh, it is a nice box this time. It is from Forbidden Planet because I got one of the variant covers. Sod the omnibus, look at all this, man. This is quite possibly the happiest I've ever been. They've given us 5 different sheets of this. 5 of the fuckers. This is Micronauts, the new Marvel Omnibus reprinting the early 80s series starring the Micronauts. Micronauts was a toy line. They were basically Star Wars toy rip-offs. And Marvel published comics to help sell the toys. And much like Ron Spaceman, it is the case that the comics are more fondly remembered than the toys. Variant cover here. This is the Butcher Jackson variant cover. I got it because it was my favourite of the ones available. The others were by David Cockburn, the cover to issue 1, and then one by the series' first and most celebrated artist, Mr. Turnbull. This collects issues 1 to 29, as well as the first 2 annuals. It is the first of 3 volumes. I don't know if I will get the further volumes. I mean, I probably will, but I don't know. If you have read Micronauts, let me know if I should get the 2nd and 3rd volumes. I say that, but you're all just going to say yes anyway. Let's take this off. Oh, I like that. That's nice. So, I have never read Micronauts. I know very little about Micronauts. I spent a week before this trying to collate everything I know about the Micronauts in my mind for this video. The first thing I know is the creators. Bill Bungalow writes Micronauts. He was also, of course, writing Ron Spaceman. He is the underrated talent who deserves all the credit in the world for taking 2 pretty lame toys and making comics that really brought them to life. And it is entirely Bill Bungalow why Ron Spaceman and Micronauts are still a thing. Contents here, issue 1. This was the main cover for the omnibus. The first issue cover by David Cockburn. I vaguely know the characters' names, but don't ask me which one is which. Some of them are owned by Marvel. They were created for this series, whereas others are based on the figures, and Marvel can no longer use them. The Micronauts character with the most life at Marvel Comics is Forager here, the green guy in the middle. In the 2000s, he was one of the founding members of the present-day Galactical Guardians team, and he was in most of their stories. Not so much now because he wasn't in the movies, so he doesn't exist to all the people Marvel keep getting to write Galactical Guardians. The bad guy in Micronauts is a blatant Darth Vader rip-off, and that is because the toy was specifically ripping off Darth Vader. It was, in many ways, a toy line that was cribbing so heavily from Star Wars, and trying to trick unsuspecting people into thinking they were maybe Star Wars toys. The art is by Mr. Turnbull, who I think is severely overrated. But this was... all the restoration for this omnibus was apparently done by the Marvel Masterworks team. A Mighty Marvel bonus poster. As said, Marvel can use some of the Micronauts, and so there is usually some Micronauts stuff in comics. They cannot use the Darth Vader ripoff, I know that much. The Micronauts appear in some issues of Cables in the mid-90s. They are in some of David Peters' Captain Marvels, the real one, Genesville. They were featured in the Earth Egg books. I mentioned it in my review of Hulk 206, but they tried a Micronauts revival in 2010. All these couldn't actually use the name Micronauts. All those things sort of failed to ever excite me with the Micronauts. They have came across to me as one of those teams and concepts that comic book writers seem to have more affection for than comic book readers. Something else I know is that there is a magic sword in it, maybe. I also want to say, calling the bad guy a Darth Vader ripoff isn't an insult. Even calling all of the toys Star Wars ripoffs, it isn't an insult. But if you're going to rip something off, you might as well. Swamp Thing guest appearance with issue 7. We do have appearances from Marvel characters throughout. I know we have Psychic Man, he appears at one point. And later we also have a mini-series with them, crossing over with the Excellent Men. And apparently it has loads of Christopher Clairvoyant pedo shit. This was something else that I knew. Issue 8 features the first appearance of Captain Universe Man. That is the other big thing from Micronauts that has a lot of play within Marvel's comics afterwards. Captain Universe Man. Captain Universe Man, his powers were given to Spider-Man for a few months. There was a Hulk story. Captain Universe Man and Forager, they were both on that initial Galactical Guardians. I am completely out of Micronauts factoids or awareness. Most, if not all, of the Micronauts characters and concepts did not receive anti-book entries, which furthers my limited knowledge on them. Home is where the art is. A lot of space battles, really avoiding that Star Wars comparison, aren't there? We have got the first annual artwork by Steve Dittman, and after this Steve Dittman does a 3-issue run on Marvel Spotlight with Bill Bungalow and does Captain Universe Man stories. Would have been nice to include them in the omnibus, but those issues of Marvel Spotlight are owned solely by Marvel, so including them here complicates the licensing deal with IDW to reprint the Micronauts comics. Steve Dittman then goes on to do the tail end of Ron's Spaceman series, pin-up of the Micronauts and all the characters they have encountered. Issue 13 I think this is the first one of the regular series without Mr. Turnbull art. Would not be surprised to learn that he is done now. Artists like that never last long. Patience is indeed a virtue. Looks like we're getting some stuff with Forager, the one character I feel like I sort of know. This one guest stars Fantastic Force, if that pin-up from before didn't give it away. Double splash page here, not entirely necessary. Oh, this is a Psychic Man one. So that one also features Fantastic Force. There's the cover for it, issue 16. Micronauts, Fantastic Force, Psychic Man. Nuff said. I think this would be the one that I am most looking forward to reading. Fantastic Force, Psychic Man. I know those things. Look, a giant human fire. Of course, the Michaelverse and characters like Psychic Man, they all existed in the Marvel Universe before Micronauts. It's interesting that Marvel took their pre-established concepts and married them so heavily with a license. Of all the things Micronauts explores or reappropriates, it is bizarre to me that Cyclops never appears in Micronauts. The bad guy from those Hulk comics. He would fit right in as a bad guy in Micronauts. We are on to our third artist now. I don't think Butcher Jackson actually does any art in this omnibus. He is volume 2, I think. Some more Forager. Yow, what kind of crazy tick world is this? Here we have some more Marvel Universe stuff. Ant-Man, Paul Rudd. It's all quite sensible stuff to link the Micronauts to. Show of hands, who reckons this will be my favourite character? You would imagine the reason it never happened was down to licensing, but it's surprising they didn't try to do a Micronauts Ron Spaceman crossover. Molecular Man, didn't know he appeared in this. Would this be before his appearance in Avengers 215 and 16? Yeah, I think so. This is back when the wand possessed people. Actually hated this setup for Molecular Man. Actually hated Molecular Man before Secret Wars. Who was doing the art for these backup features? There's no credits for them. We have another Mighty Marvel bonus poster there. I know this. They have reprinted this map quite a lot. I almost used it in my Hulk 206 review. I like showing off the pin-ups because they're always good things to show in a video. We have a bunch here of the characters. Forager. And here is Friends and Foes of the Micronauts, which shows that I managed to miss an appearance of a future member of the Thunderbirds, Plantmaster, in issue 21. I won't go back to try and find them. But speaking of Thunderbirds, very next page gives us Fister. Some more Forager. This Tales of the Michaelverse is the origin of the Darth Vader ripoff. I'm not sure if this is at all what I would think needs to appear in Micronauts. And then we're on to the bonuses. I won't have much of anything to say about these. Some house ads, some more I think this was the other cover available for the Omnibus, maybe. They seem to have been promoting Micronauts a lot more than they did Ron Spaceman. Some Fred Embeck there. More bloody house art. I've seen this house art. This is in something I have. Mr. Turnbull art. I'm guessing there's going to be loads of this. Yeah, I just don't have much to say about original art that I have not read the comics of. Dave Cockburn art there of Darth Vader. The variant cover I got is from this. This was reprints of Micronauts issues 1 to 3. There was a second issue of that and a third. I'm guessing it only goes as long as Mr. Turnbull was doing the art. Massively insulting to Bill Bungalow, who keeps writing the series afterwards, and to all the other artists who followed Mr. Turnbull. Here we have new pieces of art that were made to balance spreads in those reprints, and that is that. Who reckons I will read this omnibus anytime soon? I've still not read the first volume of Ron Spaceman. Because of that, I think this omnibus earns 7 thumbs up.